Hello, everyone. Welcome. I wanted to jump on and connect with people live. I wanted to just, I had this call to go on right now. And hi, I wanted to jump on. I had this call to come live and answer some questions. So I'm just trusting that whoever shows up and asks the questions right now that need to be asked, we'll all receive the messages. So I'm not exactly sure what we'll be talking about, but welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. So I have about 30 minutes to touch base with everybody and see how everyone is doing with all of the energetic shifts that we've been courageously anchoring into our forms. What kind of toothpaste do I use? I use, oh my God, I don't even know the name. I don't know. Got it at some health food store. Hi, Martha from Sweden. Marita. Extremely exhausted. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that have been talking about exhaustion in the body. So let me just touch base on this really quickly. Your body is anchoring higher dimensional light, and it takes a lot for our bodies to do that. It takes so much. And because it's energetic, we can't see it. We can just feel it. And the way we feel it is through exhaustion, sleeping, eating strange things, right? Irritability, perhaps, that's the body exhausted and tired. Not wanting to be around a lot of people, that's the body exhausted and tired. There's a lot of things happening physically to the body right now. So we have to listen to it and not put attachments or judgments on the body being exhausted. What if you looked at it as, oh my God, my body's exhausted. That means I'm anchoring light. That means I'm anchoring light. That means I'm anchoring light. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. This means that I'm shifting into higher frequencies, right? So when you look at yourself exhausted and depleted and like almost beat down, right? Just like, oh my God, I can't get out of bed. My sleep patterns are all funky. I'm eating like really unhealthy things. Try not to judge yourself, you guys. Try not to judge yourself, okay? Your body is really doing its best to partner with you and anchor these frequencies, anchor these light codes. So love your body, love that it needs sleep, love that it needs rest, love that it may need a freaking cheeseburger or hot dog or random whatever it is that you're craving. A lot of times if you're craving really heavy, fatty, oily, meaty products, it's because your body needs to ground the light. And so the heavier foods assist the body in grounding the light. So you want to try to not judge what it is that you are craving because you don't necessarily know why you're craving it. Okay. So honor it. Honor what you're craving. Sometimes, when you're shifting to higher frequencies, you're not always going to be eating those higher frequency foods like the green juices and the salads and the vegetables and all of that. Sometimes when you're in massive anchoring modes, you're going to need heavier foods. Please honor yourself. Please honor what your body needs, okay? Especially with the foods and the sleep. Honor that. Try not to judge it, you guys. We judge ourselves through this process, and we really want to try not to judge ourselves. Don't judge yourselves. Try not to, please. You're doing the best you can. Your body's doing the best you can. So yeah, be gentle. Grilled cheese sandwiches. I've been craving cheese a lot. Massive cheese craving. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Okay, let's get to some questions. The higher vibration caused my hypothalamus and adrenals to go into overdrive. My chiropractor helped me with some homeopathic. Beautiful. Electric shocks when you touch people. That's just your energetic field getting more higher in frequencies. Hi, Sophie. Hello, my love. You're welcome with the Palladian message. Hopefully you're feeling better or not. you know, it's interesting when we say those things. I watch myself. I hope I hope you're feeling better. And then it's like, wait, why is feeling that density, exhaustion, uncomfortable feelings, why do we label that as not good? Oh, I hope you feel better. It's like, yeah, we want to be in those higher frequencies, but being in that cocooning, being in that uncomfortableness, being in the like, holy shit, am I going to come out of this? Being in those states is where it's all happening. And then we pop out into the higher frequencies and it's like, oh, okay, now I can just be. You don't do the work when you're in the higher frequencies, right? You're doing the work when you're in that crunchy, uncomfortable time, right? So those are the times where we want to be out of it quicker, where we don't honor ourselves in it. And yet that's the time where we are actually shifting. That's the shifting time. That's the time where we should be honoring it. And yet when we're in it, it's very challenging to do that. You know, it's very hard. Very, very hard. Okay. Why do I still have neuropathy in my feet when I was healed all throughout my other parts of my body? So a lot of times, I'm not exactly sure why, Tina, for you in particular, but what I can say is a lot of times when energy is moving out of us, it moves out through the feet. It moves out through the feet. So a lot of times as the last sort of purging of energy happens, and it's always happening in waves, right? That the feet, the legs, the ankles, the kneecaps, the feet are the last part to kind of push it. And so a lot of times it can get stuck in those lower physical areas of our body. And also the feet are really, really sensitive. They're energetic sort of portals. They can access and feel a lot. It's like little tentacles. The feet are tentacles. So they're very, very sensitive. It could be that something is clearing out. It could just be that you're turning on and the feet are just starting to really activate. I'm not sure. It could also mean that you really need to ground down into the physical body of Earth, right? And feel your bare feet on the ground and let it feel safe. Let your body feel safe. Let your feet feel safe. You know what I mean? Amanda, how to overcome the eating disorder, bulimia? You got to be in any disorder, any eating disorder, any addiction. You have to be conscious of what you're doing. You have to be conscious of what you're healing, right? So, regardless of any addictive behavior, right? This is really, really important and powerful. You don't want to beat yourself up, right? You want to be able to stay conscious on what you are in the now moment, clearing and healing and moving through. And you always hold that knowingness. You always hold that knowingness that you are literally birthing yourself out of it. Whatever addiction it is, you're birthing yourself out of it. You are not it. You're watching it as if it's a massive consciousness that you've been playing in for a certain amount of time, and it's okay. Now, this is going to rub some people the wrong way, but that's okay, right? If this resonates with you, go with it. But the way I look at addictions and the way I've looked at my own addictions is I honor the freak out of myself in my addictions. I honor the freak out of myself as I was birthing myself out of my addictions, right? I loved myself in it. I loved myself out of it. And I knew in every now moment, whether I was in the addiction or out of the addiction, that I was coming out of it, that I would be out of it, that I was healing it, right? I didn't have the consciousness of I'm stuck in this, I'm screwed, I'm never going to get out of it, right? I held the consciousness, the belief, and the knowingness that I'm healing, I'm healed, I'm moving out of it, I'm shifting out of it. And then I was conscious every now moment of what I was thinking, what I was feeling, what I was experiencing, right? So with bulimia, it's like, okay, what am I feeling in those moments right before I really want to binge, right? Really want to binge. And you have to start to practice doing something to get yourself out of that behavior. Do something that gets yourself out. So a lot of times with eating disorders, it's a behavioral pattern that happens, right? So you're watching yourself doing the same things, the same thing. Most addictions are like that, right? Same thing. You're just constantly doing the same pattern. You got to break the pattern. And you got to start to not necessarily pray, but you have to start to work with your guides. You have to start to work with the higher consciousnesses around you, your higher self. We aren't designed to do this alone, and you don't necessarily have to do it with other humans, right? I worked through a lot of addictive behaviors with my guides. And so you want to work with them. You want to ask them for assistance. You want to ask them for help. You want to, for me, it didn't feel right to go through the very modern, or not modern, the way that we typically heal addictions, reading all those books, going to a therapist, those types of things didn't resonate with me. It didn't feel right. So I did it on my own, and I did it with my guides. I'm not saying that's right for you, but that's how I did it. And the more clarity you have around what it is that you're dealing with, the more clarity you have around what you're moving out of, the faster you'll be able to do it. And the other thing is to really have compassion for yourself, right? To love yourself, 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 to love yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. I'm coming out of it. 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 Being scared to surrender. Someone said, what if you're scared to surrender? So that's a normal emotion, I think, for a lot of us. It's really real, and it's very, very, very powerful feeling to not want to surrender completely. Because when you surrender, you don't necessarily, you as the egoic personality that has always been in charge is no longer in charge. And the higher self is in charge, right? And the I am presence is in charge. And the aspect of you that loves you unconditionally and knows how to take care of you is in charge. And the egoic aspect of you freaked out because we have been programmed as third dimensional consciousness to be in charge and to control our emotions, to control the situation, to control the environment, to control. And when we control, we are in control. We feel good. We're navigating everything. Feels good. When you surrender completely, it feels in the beginning like you are out of control and that you're going to kind of fall into some sort of abyss, right? So you have to just practice it. You have to just let yourself fall into deep surrender. Let yourself fall into deep surrender. What if I don't try to control anything? What if I just jump 1000% into what it is that's showing up for me right now, whatever that is, right? What if I just said, okay, I'm jumping in, I'm going all the way in, meaning when something intense comes up, right? What if I just stopped in that now moment, dropped to my knees and just said, here's the now moment of this emotion or experience or thought, and I'm going to surrender to it. I'm going to let go and feel it and let it move through me. Deep, deep surrender, you guys, is really freaky. It can be really scary. Real surrender, surrendering where you are letting go of control, right? You being the ego, okay? So when I say you, I'm speaking about the ego letting go, all right? There's a lot of aspects of us that we are in every single now moment. So it's a matter of choosing which aspect of you are going to be in, right? And eventually, as a multidimensional human, you are currently in every now moment being all of it and choosing which aspect of you you're going to sort of listen to or let lead the way, right? You have to practice surrendering over and over and over and over and over again. That's living with the higher self. Living with your higher self, embodying your higher self, you have to surrender the ego. The ego doesn't go away. The ego is very important. The ego is a beautiful aspect of us. But in order to start to embody and live with your higher self, guided by your higher self, you have to surrender completely to everything that's coming up. Everything that's coming up. You have to surrender to it. because your ego quiets as your higher self leads you when you start shifting into higher frequencies. When you start shifting and being asked to follow these higher frequencies, be in these higher frequencies, your higher self is going to be pulling you, and your ego is going to fight it. Okay, let's do another question. Are people going crazy? Are the waves of energy affecting them and to lash out? Tanya, are people going crazy? Are the waves of energy affecting them into a lash? It's possible. I mean, listen, I don't know what's going on with every single individual kind of conscious ascending human, but it's intense out there, you guys. And so if there are humans that are maybe just beginning to wake up, they could be going crazy, right? If the more conscious the human is with what's going on, the easier it is to navigate it, right? So if you're not quite clear on what's happening, you could be going cuckoo. You could absolutely be going crazy, right? And there are a lot of people that are resisting what's happening. Even if they're consciously ascending, they're really trying to fight it. So there's this battle between the ego and the higher self. There's this fight, right? Because really shifting into higher frequencies is massively courageous. You have to feel everything. You have to let the density go. And if you are fighting that, it can cause a lot of anger. It can cause a lot of resistance. It can cause a lot of frustration. You're fighting that which your higher self is asking you to feel. And so you're taking it out on humans. You're taking it out on experiences outside of yourself. You're blaming people, right? You don't want to surrender to it. You don't want to just allow it to be, right? And the higher these frequencies come in, the faster they come in and the more they're coming in, which many of you are recognizing this isn't stopping. These massive portals, these massive influxes of light are not stopping, right? We're not getting breaks anymore. It's like the roller coaster has begun. Let's go. And so if you're not surrendering and just allowing the now moment to be, you're going to be in a massive battle. And that fight is going to cause anger, frustration, rage. It's going to kind of cause this outward lash with people, perhaps, because they just don't want to be doing it again. They don't want to be feeling this, right? And that's where deep surrender comes in, because it clears a lot faster, you guys, when you surrender to the now moment of when it pops up. Don't prolong the now moment of it popping up, right? Pops up, feel it. Off you go. Who knows how long? A day, 2 hours, 30 minutes, and then boom, you're into something new. But when you resist it, when you stop it, when you try to control it, that's when it lasts. That's when you're in a battle, right? That's when you're in the battle. So it is intense. There could be millions of humans that are resisting this, or uncomfortable with it, or really not exactly sure what's going on, right? Especially the kind of newly awakening ones that are feeling all of this crazy stuff inside of them, and they're frustrated. They're angry. They don't want to be doing it. They don't want this feeling. And yet what they don't understand is that it's a beautiful gift, so that it can clear out, so that you can shift into these higher frequencies, and then off you go again into these dips, and then into the higher realms, and then the dips, and then the higher realms, right? I mean, what I can say from my personal experience is that each kind of lift up is a higher frequency for me. I've anchored a little bit higher frequency. I'm experiencing the world and my reality differently. Each leveling up, it gets higher, right? Not higher in a better way, just I'm anchoring more light. I'm seeing more, I'm feeling more, I'm responding more. Things are changing in the way I am, the way I respond to people, the way I talk, the way I hear words. Words are becoming really crazy. Like the words that we say, the sentences we say, the things, the responses that we have with people, right? The way humans are, but there's no judgment around it. You know, when you start to shift and click into these higher frequencies and consciousnesses, there's less and less judgment around yourself and the humans. How to not judge, heinous contrast. Love yourself through the judgment. I mean, It's really hard when you're watching things happen in the world, you guys, like the burning of the Amazon, or, you know, these, I mean, I'm not even going to go into all the things, right? But there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and it can hurt the heart, right? It can be painful. And so allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling about it, and then try to start to step out and not judge yourself around how you're responding, and perhaps try not to judge what is happening. Is there a way for you to start to feel it, watch it, experience it? And is there a possibility, a small snippet chance of you starting to step out into a bigger picture and just see it as consciousness experiencing itself? And the earth is okay. She actually is okay. But that takes a lot of stepping out into a bigger picture. And can you start to hold in small increments that every human is just doing the best they can? Every human's doing the best they can. And they're doing their energetic signature. And we're not necessarily going to like it. It's not going to feel good, right? We're not going to agree with it. And that's okay. Can we have compassion for ourselves until we are in a frequency where we're not judging it anymore? It's baby steps. It's like just having that question of how do I not have judgment around that? That in itself is having clarity. That in itself is getting conscious. The more conscious we can get, you guys, with how we respond, how we feel, how we react, right? That's going to give us the freedom to begin to choose our reality, the freedom to begin to step out of duality, the freedom to step out of attachment, judgments. It's baby steps. So we have to get clear first on what we are believing, what we are resonating in, what we are playing in, how we're responding. And then we take baby steps, little snippets of, okay, I don't like the way the government is doing this. Okay. I can either participate in that paradigm and continue to find myself in that space, or I can step out of it, let it play out the way it's going to play out, trusting that it's all divine and that it's all going to play out perfectly in the way that it's designed to, and it's not my responsibility, unless there is a responsibility within you to participate in it. And then your job may or may not be to find a neutral stance in that. You know, you start to think about Jesus, and my guides are always bringing Jesus into my freaking realm, always. And the reason they bring Jesus in all the time for me is because he is a walking example of a three-dimensional human form that was holding and anchoring 5D consciousness, which is what all of us are starting to learn how to do. Okay. So we're starting to learn, and we're starting from like crawling, right? So imagine Jesus as being like this marathon runner, and we are literally just learning to crawl. And he is an example of what we're moving to. And so you want to have compassion for that journey upward into being able to stand in a third dimensional form, anchoring a 5D consciousness. It takes a lot of practice, and for many of us, a very long time, perhaps, okay? So you'll be able to look out into the world and see the atrocities that are happening with neutral eyes, loving eyes, and knowing from a bigger perspective that it's all going to work out. It's all divine. It's all going to unravel the way it's designed to, and we're all safe in that process. Even those that are not safe, right? There's a bigger plan for those as well. It's challenging. It's not easy. All right, let's do a couple more. Hey, Lorie, hope you've been well. Always great to see you live. Hi, Blake. Good to see you here. Just reading the comments, you guys. Palladians are ninth dimension. Yeah, they Palladians can move between like a seventh and a ninth or 10th dimension. Lots of higher consciousness beings are not necessarily like one dimension, right? They're massive, first of all. So like a Nocturian consciousness is a massive consciousness. And then there are aspects of those Nocturians, right, that are vibrating in different frequencies. So you may be connecting with a Nocturian that is around an 8th or ninth dimension, right? And somebody else may be connecting with a Nocturian that is around a 10th dimension. So typically consciousnesses, massive high dimensional consciousnesses, have a variation of like 2 or 3 dimensions, typically, right? It's not like it's only one dimension. The Palladians are only ninth dimension. That's not how it works in higher frequencies. Okay, what else? Hi, Kaz. You guys are having your own conversation about the sun. I missed it. Oh, meditating in the sun, deep breathing. Jason, have you tried to meditate in the sun and deep breathe? Oh, there's Jason. Should we keep eyes open looking at the sun? I don't think so. I don't know what you guys are doing, have your own conversation, but I don't think you should look at the sun with your eyes open. But who am I? That's just my belief. There's 1,000 different beliefs, right? Hello, Shell Time from Massachusetts. They're Palladian angels. So a Palladian consciousness is a specific signature vibration, right? And an angelic consciousness is a specific vibration. So not really. A Palladian angel is like it's like 2 different species almost, right? So an angelic frequency is one frequency. It's one experience. And then a Palladian consciousness is a different signature. It's a different frequency. I mean, could you mix the 2 and create some sort of like hybrid breed? Sure. But it would be an interesting one. It's possible. I've never experienced an angelic Palladian, but I'm sure it's possible. Anything's possible. I always only discuss what I've experienced. So I've never experienced, but I do know that the angelic realm, the angelic consciousness, the angelic frequencies are very different than galactic. And I say galactic just meaning the higher dimensional consciousnesses that are we connect with as more of like a form, or they have more of a mind to them, even though they don't necessarily have a mind. They're assisting us right now. They're guiding us right now. So are the angelic realm, right? But the angelic realm feels very different than a galactic sort of frequency. It's very, very different frequency. It's night and day. Dragons, and specifically higher dimensional benevolent ones. Okay, so the dragons, I'll quickly talk about the dragons. I don't have a ton of experience about dragons. But what I do know from my experience with dragons is they are guides and protectors in the higher dimensional realms. So when you start shifting into higher frequencies, there's many, especially in your dream state, you may have designed yourself to connect to the dragon consciousness. And the reason that you have asked yourself to connect to the dragon consciousness is because they protect you and guide you and show you these higher dimensional realms. Perhaps they will take you into portals, into planetary systems, into craft. It's almost like you've got your own sort of beautiful guide that is moving you through the dimensions and reminding you and showing you what's available. And they do it in a very fun way, in a very safe way. They're guardians. They're loving consciousnesses. And they typically, if they're showing up for you, then there is something that you are, sorry, I'm just taking notes. There's something that you are starting to play in and you've asked for the dragons to come in to assist you. So start talking to the dragons, ask them to come in more and more. They're such benevolent, beautiful beings. They're fun, they're playful, they're so magical. And they'll guide you in your dream state. They'll guide you in your conscious state. So if you're starting to explore higher dimensional realms, consciously or unconsciously, start to ask them to come in and in more of a conscious way with you. They're awesome. I had a session once. They've come in a couple times in sessions, but one session in particular, we actually rode on a dragon, and it was inside Telos, and we sat on this dragon. I'm telling you guys, it was the most amazing. I'll never forget that session. I've done so many sessions. I don't remember a lot of them. But this session I'll never forget, because we were sitting on this damn dragon that was like, if you've ever seen The Never-Ending Story, first of all, if you're connecting to the dragons, go watch The Never-Ending Story, because that story depicts the dragon energy so well, so well. It's The Never-Ending Story. It's like back in the 80s. But this dragon invited me and the client. It was the client's dragon. It was the client's like confidant, and we sat on this dragon, and it was so excited and happy and joyful and fun and free, and it took us all over Telos. It took us all over this Lemurian city, and we were so safe because we were on this massive dragon, right? And it was like it was just this energy I'd never felt before. So if you're playing with the dragon energy, that's awesome. I don't work with the dragons, but they're freaking amazing. They're awesome. You guys, my eyes are so bad. Seriously. Okay, let's see. Hi, Lorie. Thank you for your clear explanations. How can I deal best with daily back pain? Daily back pain, Celestine, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Daily back pain. So, I mean, there's a lot of, first of all, listen to your own resonance and listen to your guidance. What if I were to ask you right now, like if you were on the screen with me, what are you being called to do? What are you being asked to do? What is your higher self telling you to do on a regular basis? What are you ignoring? And what are you saying, okay, I'll do that, right? So you're getting the guidance, you're getting the messages, you're getting the information. You may not hear it necessarily, or you may be ignoring it. But you want to listen to what your higher self is telling you, and you want to just say yes to it, whether it makes sense or not. Because there may be things coming in, information or guidance for you that you may not be wanting to hear or believing in. There may be things popping in that you're not believing or you're not trusting. Like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? Or that's not going to help. Why would I do that? Right? For instance, your higher self may tell you that you need to go sit by a pond with some green grass on your back, right? I'm just throwing this out. And you're going to say to yourself, first of all, I have no time. Second of all, I don't even know where a pond is with grass. And third, that doesn't make any sense. How's that going to help my back, right? This is what we do as humans. We receive guidance, right? And then we say to ourselves, this is the ego. The ego says, that doesn't make any sense. First of all, I don't even know how to get there. I'm not going to do that. No way. Something else, please. Something else that I agree with. Something else that I can do. Something else that I want to do. Instead of saying, oh, you know what? I don't understand why this is coming in. I don't understand even how to do this, but I'm going to follow it because it's the guidance from my higher self, right? Or my guides. And they know more than me, meaning the ego. Okay. And I'm going to follow it, and I'm going to trust that it's going to be for my highest good, regardless of whether I understand it, I feel it, I see it. When you start working with energy, which when you have back pain, a lot of times that is energetic pain or energetic frequencies trying to clear out, right? You can't see the energy. So you have to deeply, deeply trust that whatever you're being guided to do, whether it makes sense or not, you do it because it's clearing. It's assisting you in this process. It's assisting you in the shift into higher frequencies, okay? So you're consciously aware of the pain. You're actively focusing on it because it's trying to clear out of you, not the pain, the energy, the consciousness, right? And you want to get clear on what you're hearing. What are you hearing? Listen, listen, listen. What pops in out of nowhere, right? Go take a bath. Okay, I'm going to go take a bath. Go look up energy healers. Okay, I'm going to go look up an energy healer. And then listen to the ego. The ego's going to say, why are you doing that? You're not going to find the right person. You don't have the money to do this. You did this last time and it didn't work. This is deep surrendering as well. It's a great example of deep surrendering also. It's like, okay, my ego's not in charge because my ego doesn't understand this way of being. My higher self does. My higher self's here to heal this with me. This is with any physical ailment, you guys. My body, my higher self knows how to heal me. Sorry, I'm taking notes. So can I listen, right? Can I trust? Can I say yes to all of it? Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense to you. What's the best way? This is a good question. Hold on. I mean, they're all good questions, right? But what would be the best way, Maria? What would be the best way or moment to ask your guides about the questions you may want to get help with? And what's the best way to listen to the advice you get? Okay, great question. And then I got to go because I have a session coming up. Okay, so you have to practice this, you guys. It doesn't just happen all of a sudden and it's like, you know, it's the same thing as like, you know, standing as Jesus, right? You start as a toddler and you eventually become this grown adult. So when you start working with your guides, your higher self, higher dimensional beings, star beings, angelic beings, the dragons, they're all consciousness and energy that you can't necessarily see. Most of us can't see them. And a lot of times in the beginning, most of us can't feel them or hear them. Okay. So that's just part of this journey. So you have to start to participate and ask and communicate as if they are right in front of you, because they are, but you can't see them. So you've got to just completely accept the fact that you can't see them, feel them, or hear them in the beginning. In fact, just allow that to be. The more you can allow it to be that way, the easier it's going to be to navigate this, okay? They are with you. They are speaking to you all the time. They're connected to you all the time. It's just a matter of you starting to consciously bring them into your space over and over and over again and trusting. You can imagine that you've got this higher dimensional being. Let's just call it a Palladian, okay? And this beautiful Palladian, even your higher self, but I'm going to do a Palladian for you that asked the question, Maria, right? You've got this Palladian talking to you, talking to you, talking to you. And you can imagine that this Palladian is looking down at you as the human. And once in a blue moon, you kind of are like, oh, I just heard something come in. But then the Palladian's watching you as the human, and you shut down and you start doing all these things and you don't necessarily believe what you heard, and then you keep going, right? And the Palladian's like, God dang it, they were so close. They were so close to hearing me. They were so close to hearing me, right? And then all of a sudden you ask a question out loud and the Palladian answers and the information comes into your space and into your field. And you're like, I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything, right? And the Palladian's like, no, I'm giving it to you. I'm giving it to you. There's a dimensional field, right? A dimensional gate between you and these higher dimensional consciousnesses. So your job is to break through those dimensional fields. And the way you do that is that you know they're there. You know they're there. It's not a matter of, can I bring them in? Are my guides with me? How do I know I'm hearing them? No. They're with you. They're always with you. They're standing there. They're communicating with you. They're always, always communicating and connecting. It's a matter of you saying, okay, I'm bringing in my family of light. I'm bringing in my guides. I'm bringing in my angelic team. When you say bringing them in, that's just your consciousness saying they're here. Okay. So they're already there, but you've got to tell yourself they're there. Okay. You got to remind yourself, you being the egoic aspect of you, right? The personality. You've got to remind yourself that they're there. So you're just always, in any now moment that you can remember, you're just like, oh yeah, my Palladian team's with me. Even if you don't know who they are, my guides, my family of light, my star family, my angelic team, whatever resonates with you, do that. say that, right? They're with me. Then you ask the questions. You're not going to hear anything right away. That's okay. You've got to break that dimensional field. It's a higher consciousness trying to move into a dense consciousness. Okay. So you're not doing anything wrong, but you keep asking. You keep asking. And then again, you want to listen to the little things that come in, like start to write. We need you to doodle right now. We need you to journal, not doodle. Well, maybe doodle. Doodling might be what you need to do, Maria. I'm not sure. But write. Or we want you to sit. Go sit, right? So again, just like with the back pain, don't doubt or question how you're going to navigate this. But your responsibility as the 3D human that you are is to constantly bring them into your space over and over and over and over. At the grocery store, they're coming, they're here. In the car ride, they're here. At work, they're here. When I'm watching TV, they're with me on the couch. You've got to play in that space. You've got to play in that field, because they're not just randomly all of a sudden going to plop into your space as these Palladians or angelic beings and sit there, and you're going to look at them and say, oh, I can see them now. Okay, now I believe you. I'm going to start talking. It's not going to happen that way. You have to play in the consciousness. You have to open yourself to it. You've got to open yourself. So the other thing I always suggest is opening up this crown chakra over and over and over, just by consciously saying, I'm opening up my crown chakra. I'm opening up my crown chakra. I'm opening up my crown chakra. I'm asking you guys to give me the information. Now, no, they're already giving you the information, but you're just going to ask as if you don't remember that they're giving you the information, right? I'm opening my crown chakra. I'm calling in my team, and I'm asking you guys these questions, and I trust and know that I'm going to hear the messages when I'm supposed to hear the messages, meaning I may hear them right now. I may hear them when I'm doing my dishes. I may hear them when I'm in the shower. And then you have to trust what you hear, right? You have to trust. The other thing that's really, really important is to start to get so conscious of what's happening up here. What are you hearing? What's going on up here? What's going on up here? Hold on one second. Sorry. What's going on? What am I thinking? What am I hearing? Who's talking to me? Is it my ego? Is it my higher self? Is it the angelic realm? What's going on up here, right? And I say up here because, first of all, this is the crown chakra, and all energy and consciousness that's higher than your third dimensional physical form filters through this channel. The channel is that 7 energy centers that move through the physical form that filters and pulls in higher frequencies. It also filters in the frequencies from the third dimensional consciousness that you're playing in, right? But when you open it, when you really open it up, you are opening yourself up to the higher frequencies around you, right? And then it filters in, and then it becomes a matter of dissecting it or tapping into it. So when it comes in, and this includes the higher self, right? The higher self is always doing this energetically because it's a higher frequency. So it's got this like figure 8 kind of motion. I guess it'd be like more like this, right? It's an energy. The higher self is an energetic frequency of you that exists in a higher frequency. It's a higher aspect of you. And so it's constantly filtering up and down, right? And so it's in you, but it's also a higher aspect of you. So it's a higher frequency as well above you. So it's always doing this. And you're learning how to hear it. And it gets filtered through your own egoic structures, through your personality, through your mind, through your physical form, right? So you may be drawing something, you may be singing something, you may be speaking something, you may be moving things, you may move your body, and that's how you express it, right? So as it comes in, it's filtered in a specific way, your unique way, but you got to get clear on what's coming in. You got to get clear on what you're hearing, on what you're listening to. Okay? There's a lot that can be said around that, but that's the simplest way to kind of say it. It's not even that simple, but hopefully that makes sense. You want to listen. You want to get clear on the ego. Is the ego talking to me? Is the higher self talking to me? Is it another angelic? What does it feel like? What does the energy feel like? What does the ego feel like? Not just sound like, but what does it feel like? What does my higher self sound like and feel like? What does it feel like when I'm listening to the higher self, or I'm recognized? And it's very subtle. For me, it's very subtle. The beings and guides that I talk to, it's very subtle. It's not like this strong energy all the time that comes in with a vengeance, right? Like, we're here. This is what we want you to know. Sometimes it's like that. But 85% of the time, it's just these random sort of energetic flows that I just feel, and I learn how to listen to it. Hopefully that helps. All right, one more question and then I got to go. Let's see. No, galactic, higher consciousnesses don't have an ego. An ego is part of the physical form. You have an ego in 5D, in the 5D form, but it doesn't, the ego is designed to keep you safe in all the consciousness that you're existing in. Higher dimensional consciousnesses don't have egos. They don't need to. All right. I think we're done. Unless there's one more question. Kaz, I feel a lot of light when I'm meditating and asking to connect with star beings, but I can't seem to differentiate who I'm connecting to. Will that become clear? How do I assist? Just ask. Just ask, who is this? And then the first thing that pops into your head, you write that down. See, this is what we don't recognize or realize about us, is that if we ask, they give it to us, okay, first and foremost, and we hear it, we just don't trust what we hear. I do this with clients all the time. I'm like, okay, ask the question. They ask the question. I said, what's the first thing that pops into your head? They say it. And of course, that's what these beings were saying to them. So when you're trying to figure out if it's important for you to figure out who it is that's coming in, who it is that you're connecting with, just ask. And then trust the first thing you hear. Because this is what happens to us as humans. We ask and then we're kind of waiting because we just are like, it's going to be this loud, magical sound. I'm going to hear this loud voice, this loud whatever. It's not like that. It comes, it's you speaking to you, even though it's not you. Okay. It's going to sound like you. It's going to sound like you talking to you. When you first begin to connect to the higher consciousnesses, to star beings, to galactic beings, to higher frequencies, it's going to sound like you speaking to you. So allow that to be okay. Okay. And then you just ask the question, and the first thing you hear, jot it down and just say yes to it. Because a lot of times, you guys, when you are learning how to be in these higher frequencies, there's nobody standing next to you that's saying, you got it, keep going, that's correct. Yep, bingo, you got it, keep going. Nobody. Nobody's standing next to you and giving you the green light. You've got to give yourself the green light. You got to say, yep, keep going, got it, yep, got it. What other choice do you have? It's the choice of no choice, which is that you just say yes. Okay, got it. This goes with guidance. This goes with surrendering. This goes with talking to your guides, right? You ask the question and you just jot it down. You don't sit and wait, right? So it's like when you start to try to wait for the information, you're going to drive yourself crazy, right? So you just want to kind of ask and then just keep going. And all of a sudden something's going to come in, right? It'll just come in. Who are the beings that are connecting with me? First word that pops in, boom. Because remember, it's always coming in. It's always coming in. It's always coming in. You're not disconnected. You're not capable of hearing. It's always coming in. It's always filtering in, including your higher self. It's always. And hold the paradigm. Hold whatever paradigm you want. But you're safe to open your crown. You're safe to open your crown, okay? And higher dimensional consciousnesses are what will enter into your field. Unless you want to play in a paradigm where you're going to open yourself up to darker energies that are around, then you can play in that field, right? But if you hold the belief and the paradigm that when you open up, the only thing I want to come into my space is higher dimensional consciousness. Why would I play in any other field? It's ridiculous. Why would I choose to play in any other field? Are there lower frequencies around? Yep. Are there darker energies around? Yep. Why would I choose to play in those? You're not a victim. It's a choice, whether it's conscious or unconscious. It's a choice, always a choice, no matter what. Okay. So if you need to say whatever you need to say in the beginning to know that you're safe, then by all means say that. If you are listening to other people talk about darker entities, darker beings coming into their space, infiltrating them and doing all that, that's happening to them. That doesn't mean it has to happen to you unless you decide that it happens to you. It's always a choice, whether you're conscious of it or not. It's always a choice. You just have to get conscious. And you're safe. We're designed to be sovereign, safe beings, expanded and open at all times. Always. So if you need to in the beginning to say that only the highest of light come into my space, go ahead. But eventually you won't need to, because you'll know that that's all that's coming in. It's a paradigm. What paradigm are you believing in? I love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. Hopefully this has been helpful. I'm glad I got to jump on really quickly. I'm doing my next scheduled live Q&A next Tuesday, the 24th, at 4 p.m. Pacific. So I'll see you guys there. Bring your questions. I may jump on again live. I just did a video on relationships that I'm going to upload this afternoon. I talk about navigating relationships as we're consciously ascending. So anyways, thanks for being here, you guys. I love you so much. Be gentle with yourselves, be loving with yourselves, be compassionate with yourselves and all the other humans. We're all doing the best we can. Consciously ascending or not, we're all doing the best we can. And get conscious, get conscious of you, your resonance, your energetic field, how you are experiencing your field, other humans, what you're thinking, what you're believing, all of it. Consciousness, being conscious of every now moment is how you navigate the higher frequencies. I love you guys. I will see you next time. And that's it. Mwah! Bye.